Let's call the meeting to order. We're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and after that, please remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, sir.
Father, tonight we just honor you for allowing us to be here tonight. We ask your blessings on our city officials tonight. We ask that you be with them, and as we discuss city business and that we move about this year from this point on, we ask that you give us guidance and understanding on how to make this community be all she can be, all that she needs to be, that it could be an example of what you can do in a community such as ours. So we give you thanks and praise for this tonight in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Okay, let's start out with a roll call. Alderman Greg Smith, absent. Alderman Gwen.
Here.
Alderman Snyder. Here. Alderman Saunders, absent. Alderman Simpson.
Here.
Alderman Jason Osborne.
Here.
We have a quorum. Okay, first item on the agenda is the review and approval of the minutes for the April 18th and the April 25th, 2024 board meeting.
Are these the ones you sent? I'll make a motion to approve the April 18th and April 25th, 2024 minutes of the council.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we will accept, approve the minutes. The mayor's report. Really, I only got maybe two things to do. Building inspector. We have Mr. Kerry Lee is currently continuing to perform those activities to the best of his ability. I realize it's a mayoral appointment, but right now we do not have a qualified individual to appoint. And I don't know that we're going to really know much after tonight's meeting or after this discussion, but this is for discussion. Do you think we need to call around and see if we can?
So Kerry is continuing to do it because
he is, but he really wants to stop doing it as quickly as possible.
At that one meeting he said.
I know, and I talked to him, and he said, I'll keep you until you find somebody. So that's kind of, onus is kind of on us to see what we can do. I mean, anybody have any ideas?
What about calling some of the well-known building inspectors that inspect for real estate and see if they be, how many times a month would they be needed? Could we do it on a per diem basis or something?
I don't know.
Not to interrupt, but that's something I've kind of been harping on for a few years, is if we change the compensation to a percentage of the building cost.
Right.
We might be able to attract more applicants.
Again, we got some suggestions too from.
Well, I have a question. Didn't last time a name come up? Somebody gave a name that would.
Debbie provided a name, I think.
James Beard.
James Beard.
We didn't know. I don't know who that is.
I'm sorry, Penny.
That's okay. James Beard.
B-E-E.
He just completed the house over on Benton Drive. He is interested in the building inspector job.
Debbie, could you send me an email with his contact information or someone, Penny or Debbie?
Yep.
Phil?
Didn't you, we also talked about maybe getting around to the other towns?
Yeah, that was part of the discussion, yes.
And find one person that you could share, pay enough. Okay.
And I have another name if this beer doesn't work out.
Beer. Nice drink. Cheers.
Like a beard.
Beer.
No,
Beer, B-E-R.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You know, like
Yeah.
Bud Light,
Yeah.
Huh?
like Bud Light.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Who's
Penny,
your-
who's your?
Well, it's one of the Chatfield crew. He recently moved here. He's built several houses here in town.
Oh,
and
right
he
there
would
by
be
the
an
elevator?
Excellent.
Chatfield?
Chatfield.
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 I know who they are, yes.
And he's got several people that work for him, and I was going to approach him if he had somebody, or if he would be interested in that. I mean, he's
Would
building
you,
houses.
Penny, would you like, if you know this individual, would you like to approach him on
I
our
will.
behalf?
I will.
Please do.
Yep.
Please do, and let me know. Go
John,
ahead.
John, are there any special qualifications?
Yeah.
I mean,
They have to live
I,
there.
just because they can build a house doesn't mean that they're a qualified building inspector.
Yeah, I mean, we need to look at a list of them. I mean, they need to know what they're doing about
Codes and, yeah.
codes and code enforcement, electric, concrete. I mean,
Okay.
the whole host of things.
Okay. That gives us some guidance to at least move
So should I
forward.
wait on that?
Excuse me?
Should I wait on that then? Cause we kinda need to know what.
We kinda need to know what we expect of them to do.
Yeah.
Before we go ask
I
them.
think we need to put out what the qualifications we're looking for.
Yeah.
And set proposals, probably.
Do we have a
Like a
job
bid for
description?
qualifications?
I think so.
Okay. Yes.
So I'll hold on.
Yes.
Okay.
But they should be looking for an announcement, I would say.
I think this warrants a call to maybe
John has. Okay.
Palmyra or even
Yeah.
Hannibal and have a discussion with them. Okay, I'll move on. Okay, at this point in time, I think we're gonna go ahead and move forward with electing the president of the board. By ordinance, both city and state statute, supposed to be on the first meeting in May. I guess is our first meeting in May. The board of aldermen shall nominate from their group a person to serve as president of the board, who is also the mayor pro tem. And at this point in time, the chair will accept nominations for the position of president of the board of aldermen.
I'll make a motion to nominate Jason Osborne.
Wow, that was quick. We have a motion on the floor.
Second.
We have a second. So the motion is to elect Mr. Jason Osborne as president of the board of aldermen.
I'll catch up with you girls later.
No, this wasn't already, not a no.
What happens if he votes no?
He has to
he has-
abstain.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So if I have to abstain,
You don't have to abstain.
You can vote for yourself.
You do not lose your
We'll do
ability
it
to
like the
vote,
rest of
just
the
like if
podcast.
I was gone and you could vote twice if there was a tie. So anyway, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Does it have to be a voice vote? Yes.
Fine.
Okay. All opposed?
Sorry, Jason.
Too late.
Congratulations, Mr. President of the board. You're duly elected. Like you knew it was gonna go in a different direction, right? With the board's permission, I need to have a motion to allow the chair to move one item forward in the agenda so that our pool manager may conduct business and then attend a function that she must be at. So I'd entertain a motion to allow the chair to do that.
So moved.
We have we have a motion to approve. We have a second. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
The aye. Okay, the ayes have it.
I'll make this short and sweet. Okay, two or three things. Let me see here. First of all, did you all get this in your packet? This little-
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so there's, a commercial grade microwave that I would like purchased as a purchase. The next thing you will see, I don't know if it's in your package, but if not, I've got the
Yep.
comments. But it is affordable snakes that we had promised health inspections that we would do last year and we just haven't done it. So it's kind of a must-have. It's relatively cheap. We could go through the expense of putting in a real sink out there, which was mentioned last year. honestly, I think that's kind of an overkill. I don't know that we have room for it in there. We just want to satisfy health inspection, and I think this is a cheap, reasonable way to do it. So that we need. The reason for the commercial grade microwave is the microwave we have out there is old, and I'm not even sure we own it. I think it might belong to Miss Sally. Plus, if we're going to heat up snacks, we need something commercial grade, really. It's probably about $100, $190 more than a regular microwave. But since we did our swimsuits and all that, I was under budget, 100. So there's 100 there we have to play with. I think for the money, it's important to get something
Probably lasts
decent.
longer, too.
And
They
and
heat up
last.
faster usually, don't they?
Yes, and it's gonna be faster, and I just feel like that's a necessity. Third, pool prices. I just wanted board approval that we could, raise the daily admission fees by maybe $1 for each section, and then season passes by $10.
What are they now?
Daily fee, it looks like 4 and under is $2, 5 through 8 is $3, 9 through 17 is $4, and 18 and over is $5. So not so far out of pocket, but it's still reasonable enough that we can probably go up a little bit.
What is that compared to other municipalities? Or, you know,
You know, I'm not real sure on
But then
that.
again,
This has
it's not-
stayed the same for a long time, I know that,
yeah.
so
Sounds very reasonable.
I think
Yeah.
so, too.
it is really reasonable.
Not
Still.
enough to scare anybody off.
No, I don't have to carry it off, but it's enough that we probably need to make a little bit of.
Do you know what the attendance is at the pool, just on average each season?
We usually have probably 75 people a day is about what we do. Yeah, that's average. Last thing you guys are gonna need to vote on is the school called for summer school, and we usually waive those fees, just to get approval from you guys that we are still willing to do that.
Do they come at a different time during the, I guess they would come.
They come during summer school, and they come usually not when the rest of the pool is there, so they come in the morning. It's like, we might open at 10
Okay.
and let them come before the big crowd gets there.
Well, I'll make a motion to waive the fee for the summer school kids.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion to waive the fee for the summer school kids. We have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Do we need a separate vote on the purchases that she has requested? Well, we got the fees and do we have to keep them separate? We do it all at one time.
Separately.
Yeah, I mean, might as well
Two different
keep
subjects.
it separate. Just
Okay. We need a motion to raise the fees by $1 on each of the standard rates. What was the amount on
The
the?
season passes,
Yes.
I said $10, so like, one
Okay.
pass is $70, we'd raise that from 70 to 80. A pass for 2 people is $90, so now it'll be 100. Pass for 3 to 5 is 110, so $10 according as our other prices.
Just raise the season passes.
Yeah.
Season pass is $10, I'll give you raise.
Need a
Daily
motion
passes,
to
$10.
approve raising the fees as presented for both the standard entrance and as well as the passes. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
You got it. Now, next, we need a motion to approve the purchases she's recommended. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Submit your purchase order requisitions to the city clerk and we'll get them ordered unless you want to take care of it yourself.
I can do it, whatever you want me to do.
Very well.
Okay, done.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
You have all your people hired?
Yes, everyone's hired. We have 15 total. That's kind of the number I was shooting for, so that works. Do you need
And
names?
you CPR
I
class?
don't know if we have to approve.
I think we'd already did that during the last
Yeah, we
meeting,
did.
but
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're good.
And you've got your CPR classes or?
Yep, everything's in line, ready to go.
Yep, street department, I think, was over today painting, part of the
Hopefully
paint.
we'll get that filled early next week.
Right, we can do the rest of the painting as it's filling because the rest is on top deck, so we're making rapid progress towards the opening on Memorial Day.
25th, no,
So,
I think it's gonna happen.
thank you for jumping in and helping make this happen in a timely manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the city clerk's report.
Everyone should have a copy in their binder. Provided on the report are balances of our checking accounts. One of the items, action items, is for the citywide cleanup. In years past, it's my understanding the city rents a roll-off dumpster to allow citizens to take whatever they want, well, that's legal, you know, to put in the dumpster, so they could kind of clean up their properties and whatnot. And I got a price from Danes on that. For a 20-yard roll-off, the delivery fee is $146. The dump fee is $292 per haul. And then the tonnage rate is $65 a ton with a daily rental fee of $450. I talked to Kevin O'Brien and he said that's very much in line with what it has always been.
Last year, I think, didn't we have two?
We had two, I think,
Did
that's
we
very
do
interesting you
it
brought that
last
up.
year?
I believe he said
Yeah, 'cause I
last year
threw
we
out
had
something of it.
we had two dumpsters, and I think he said that we did the two dumpsters twice, which would be four
They fill
full.
up fast.
And in the previous years, they've done six.
Mhm.
And if the board thinks we can afford to do six, I think that would go a long ways in giving our citizens an opportunity to get rid of some of the stuff that they need to get rid of and
Yeah.
probably help clean the city up a little bit. It's your choice, of course.
Yeah, they keep filling them up.
What,
Do you know how much we paid last year?
I don't know.
Because I was thinking that we had an issue with people dumping tires.
Tires are illegal, and I think it is a problem. It is an
Yeah.
ongoing problem. I don't know.
If you cut out the sidewalls in them, they will take it.
But who does
I
that?
don't know.
How much are we getting hit for each tire?
They are specifically talking regular waste here, they're not talking tires.
I know, but when people sneak them in,
Yeah.
they usually count them.
Is there a sign that's put up down there saying
Uh-huh.
what's allowed and what's not allowed? Is that
there's no way to
where
control
these
that.
dumpsters
Yeah,
are?
we've-
I don't know how this works.
I don't either.
There's, if I recall correctly, there is typical signage of, against hazardous materials, that's a big broad definition, and also tires. Short of putting cameras down there, I'm not sure.
So it's not monitored, it's not an area that's monitored.
And that's another problem in the past, I don't know if the chief remembers, but we've had people from other towns come just fill them up.
What if,
And that happened before.
I know the trash company, they'll take one bulky item a week.
Every week, yeah.
what if we just have,
They won't take
Because I put a trash out
construction
and they took it, I
debris.
called them, they took it. They said you can have one bulky item a week.
if we just did it one day?
Like a drive-through like Quincy does.
Citywide,
Like.
And you have to show your
$2.
ID and utility bill,
If you just did it one day and had someone.
like on a Saturday.
You had someone there to monitor it.
otherwise we're gonna get junk.
So you're basically
TVs.
saying, control the entrance, control who dumps it, control the length of time.
I mean, I've seen like, I think in Quincy where you have to like show your,
Chief?
Is there any place that we could put them where we could control, do throughout the day, then at night we can close it off? That way we can have somebody there making sure that somebody from in town, is the proper type of items being dumped.
you're saying for more than one day, maybe be able to do it that way or something.
I don't know how to do that.
We have a fenced-in area.
Maybe the utility barn, putting it in one of the, I'm not sure who's done why, but maybe putting it in the utility barn and filling it up at the end of the day.
It's hard to move those, I mean, you have to have it in a fenced-in area and just close the fence, right? I mean, we could physically move it.
Do we need some more time to think about this? I
Is
mean,
there a possibility we could set them back on the backside of the wastewater plant, since we have that roundabout out there? Set them down at the far end, that way people will be out of the way of the wastewater group. We've got the fence there already, so we can have it open during the day
it's a good
and
idea.
close it at night.
You think, George?
Something else to consider is like in Canton, they have a spring and a fall cleanup, and people just put it out, and the trash men actually come and pick it up at their house. Then you don't have to worry about the dumpsters, you're not monitoring anything.
And
And they won't
they
take
won't pick
anything.
up tires.
Well, no, if
You get my
if
drift?
they put something out there
Yeah.
that can't be picked up, they
They
just don't
leave it.
pick it up, like refrigerators and other
Yeah.
stuff that's not supposed to go in there.
Electronics, yeah.
And then you don't have,
We'd have to modify our.
Your contract?
Our system, there are things you cannot put out. You can't put out construction waste.
Oh, right.
Drywall,
Right.
you know. But when we do this annual cleanup, you get it all, which maybe is not bad if that's what motivates them to get it done in the first place. So that's a very good idea, I think, maybe. Stop talking.
you might need to just contact, Allied, is that who you're with? Pardon?
Danes.
Oh, Danes, and see what they charge.
I like that.
Well, the other one, Zachary had two would work as well, so Dane doesn't wanna do like
I think they would charge.
Yeah, if Dane doesn't, I'll use the word loosely, makes sense, especially monetarily, we'll kind of figure out what it would take to do on average, 6. But I think Chief James and George have a very workable
Good idea.
idea, right? Put it out there, you've got a gate, you do it only during daylight hours, you control who comes in, you watch what they dump. If they're not from this area, if they're not a citizen within the confines of the city limits, they shouldn't be allowed to dump there.
Yeah,
So we have 2 options, and we're gonna have to make a decision. We need to get all the information together so we can make a decision in the next board meeting.
Yeah,
Y'all good with that?
yeah, because I think Quincy requires a ID and a current utility bill to prove that they're residents.
I'm gonna ask a question.
Yes,
Danette, have you called any other carriers that have the roll-offs?
No, they're our, provider in town, so that was,
Gotcha,
yeah.
okay. I was wondering why we went Danes.
Yeah.
Merkel's in Palmyra is a lot cheaper.
Okay.
Cause I just called to order one for a house renovation, and it's nothing near this cost.
Okay.
And it was a bigger roll-off.
we can certainly call and get a quote.
And, what's his name from the hunting corner started?
Cedar Ridge.
Yeah,
Their
Cedar
roll-offs
Ridge.
aren't very
This
large
context.
either. That's why I ended up calling Merkel's. They
Okay.
had the biggest for the area, and they were really reasonable.
okay,
I guess at the
I
end of the day,
think I
we'll
went with
get
the
you
45
the
yeah, I
yard,
mean, if,
and it was like $700 and some dollars.
Okay, good, that's good news, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you very much.
yeah, I mean, just to satisfy the quote bid process.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, I mean, and I also,
That-
tires,
I'll help, I mean, call, whatever.
there's a place in Macon that recycles them, and they'll take them for $3 a piece, or $110 a ton
Of what?
tires.
Really?
Yeah,
Granny Bond.
and there's an average of 100 tires in a ton roughly, depending on size and whatnot, so.
That's interesting.
I mean, that might be an option to say, hey, if you have tires,
Yeah, cause you don't want a bunch of tires just laying.
right, cause I know typically the trash company, like if they do an overhead dumpster, they'll sit there and count and then charge you extra for each tire,
Come see me,
okay?
and we'll try to have that, you know? Okay, either one.
Yeah,
Anything else,
We need to vote on
I
it.
had information in your
We need to
packet
vote
for
on
the elected officials training. I'm sorry.
No, that's.
Okay. I didn't know if anyone was interested in
Yeah.
attending that.
Yes.
But if so, we would need a motion to approve the expense for that. And it is $150 per city official. and it is held in Columbia this year. The agenda looks like a really good agenda. I think it would.
Where the open recording, and they can get those recordings too for it.
So we can watch, see, I won't be in town on this day, but we could watch it later, maybe.
Yeah, the price is the same for in-person or virtual. Is that, what about the hotel?
I did not have hotel prices, no.
Okay, would that be covered?
Yeah, when I went to it, it was at, in Columbia, Holiday Inn Express, I think, and you just stayed there. That's where the conference was, and that's where you stayed.
So the motion would need to include lodging and registration.
And then for any meals that they didn't provide, we just saved our receipts.
Okay.
And they reimbursed for everything except for booze. And I think there's a limit, like how much,
There's a per diem.
you know, there should be. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry.
I think they provided all but like the one dinner meal or something.
Yeah, they provide everything, cause we ate there for everything that we could.
Right,
Thursday night, I think, is on your own.
yeah.
Is that council meeting night? Would we have to change it?
We've had to move it before.
Okay, I'll make a motion to, pay for the registration fees and lodging for any council members to attend the Missouri Municipal League elected officials training in June.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. That was a long one.
Sorry.
You want to repeat that? You don't want to repeat that.
Lodging and registration.
Approve the lodging and registration fees for members of the council to attend the training sponsored by the Missouri Municipal League. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The next thing on my report was the budget, which was included with everyone's packet. Really don't have much to say about it yet. I don't know if y'all have any questions on anything.
This is kind of the one you
Like-
said.
These year-to-date numbers are not,
No,
Okay.
nowhere near what they should be.
Okay.
No,
I noticed some specific line items, but that can't be
no.
corrected.
Yeah,
A lot of what is here is what was also published in the
Okay.
newspaper, so, yeah.
this is just a starting point.
It is.
Yeah.
I do have resources available to me that are gonna come in on Monday.
Good.
And, we're gonna get through some things and start having better numbers for everybody.
Okay.
Jackie Pangborn walked the cemetery, which she does annually, I believe, and she found some cemetery stones that need to be repaired. I'm not real familiar on this. Jason, you might know. Does that go out for bid, or what do you?
Yeah, it should go through the park board, correct?
They're going to probably.
It's supposed to be $5,000 budgeted each year to repair, stones. And, it wasn't done this past year, but the year before, it was done, and Damon Book was the person who did that. But nobody went out there last year. Actually, the year before, her name escapes me. One of the park members went out and did it, and Damon Boot did the work, but nothing happened last time.
Steve, what kind of repairs do they make?
Oh, wow.
Mostly straightening them up and putting new bases under.
Okay. And I had to do that with my mother's in Paris, and I was responsible for that. I didn't know that.
These are people, their families are long gone.
Gone,
They're
okay.
old stones.
Gotcha, I see them falling over even.
You'll see
On that topic, on that topic,
She didn't add, like, she didn't
in our
mention
last
that.
parks meeting, we talked about reviewing the cemetery policy, which I do not have, and we need that, because, there's no policy for burying someone on top of each other, I'm pretty sure, cremated people, and that is happening out there. I know a couple of cases. I'm not opposed to that, I'm just thinking that we need a policy. So that's something that we hope to work on at our next meeting.
Might need to add it to it. That's a fairly common practice, I think. Well, don't they can't they stack 2 coffins as well, or not?
I don't, it's been quite a while since I've seen the policy, I don't think there's
That's
anything
a
about that in
option.
the policy, but
Yeah,
what's happening is there's cremated, remains
then it's just a
are
small,
buried on top of someone else's.
right?
Hey, Steve, one of them is Frederick Sheets.
One of them is what?
Frederick Sheets.
Yes, but what about him?
Yeah, he's one of the Stones reading
Oh,
repair.
that needs to be fixed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He's the one that built the St. Jude Church.
Oh, wow.
Ah, really?
Correct?
We are planning to memorialize him at the, cemetery walk. It's not actually a walk anymore, it's a church. Because he was, the founder and the first preacher of that church. And in the last month or so, Darren Kendrick and I have found out quite a bit of information about him. Told Darren yesterday that what we really need to do is find his descendants and see if one of them has about $250,000.
Fix the windows
Fix the stone wall.
and the stones.
How you doing on that? I know a lot of people.
Crickets?
I'm gonna sign that down in a while.
Oh, perfect.
How are we gonna handle that?
So do I just need to reach out to Damon Hooch?
We had to go out for put it out there for
Okay.
anybody that he was always the only one that was ever interested in doing it, but I'm pretty sure have to put it out there like everything else, and then he was the only one that usually put in a bid to do
Okay.
it.
And then they probably need to coordinate with the park board.
Yeah. I didn't know Jonathan was still doing that.
The last thing on my report, was for porta potty beds. It's my understanding every year these are made available, at these locations.
Mhm.
And those are the rates that we obtained from 2 different, companies.
One's really high, much higher,
I think Scotty's
Scotty's was
we've gone
cheaper.
with before.
yeah.
I like their luxury.
Yes.
Yes.
I wonder how you make a porta potty luxury.
Yeah.
That's a sticker on the sides as well.
It has a bed.
So what's that?
Has a bidet.
For the cemetery, is that correct?
Yeah. Make a motion to approve the
Dan, add anything else?
That's all I have.
Do we
Okay,
need
so
You need
we
us
need
to
to-
make a motion to approve one of these?
Right.
Yes. We need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid from Scotty's Luxury Restrooms for 1 for South Park, 1 for North Park, and 2 for South Lake.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the Scotty's Luxury Restroom bid. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I wonder when they would, I guess as soon as you contact them.
Well, we were just wondering.
They have heated toilet seats.
Ah, the sun.
Yeah, the sun does a great job.
Lori said they have hand sanitizer probably in an event.
Sunroof.
Yeah.
He was done with BMW too. That's just BMW.
Okay.
Or is that what she said?
She said Marcos.
Marco, but BMW does it too, and they're less expensive. So,
That's all I had, unless you all have.
Being serious is tough. Okay, next on the agenda, we will please move along.
Yes.
Is City Attorney's Report. Mr. Russell.
Nothing major to report. We're moving ahead with the sale of that land to the elevator. The last council approved that, but that's one of the lots in the industrial park. So you'll be getting to sign closing documents
Okay.
soon on that. But,
Okay.
that's about all I've got.
Off the beaten path, have they informed you what their intended use is?
Yeah, they're gonna put anhydrous out there. So.
Oh, okay. All right, anything else, Mr. Attorney?
No.
All right, moving right along. Committee reports, do we have a representative from planning and zoning? Okay, I will report on planning and zoning. At the last planning and zoning commission meeting, the commission approved the site plan that the Monroe City R1 school had presented for their, I guess I would call it an addition to the elementary. And so they've been issued a building permit, and I anticipate they'll be breaking ground by right after school stops. So that, I'm glad we got the board got that done.
Is that for elementary school? Awesome.
They were able to meet the concerns of people services had with the water line, and so we come to an agreement. And I think what's going to happen is once their board approves that, we'll have to come back to the table and get that ownership agreement in writing. Is that about right?
Yep.
Okay.
And I understood it, they're gonna be the ones preparing the draft.
Excellent.
So that's how I read the emails.
That's good. That's good. Next on the agenda is Parks and Cemetery has a report.
Come up there so I can make sure.
Please do.
On the lighter side, to extend your conversation about tires, most people just take them out past my road, my house, and dump them. And on my phone back there, I've got pictures of the proof, so.
Oh, man.
We can put that in the minutes of the paper. Maybe you need a dumpster out there.
Then they put even more.
A lot of times they go around the corner towards Muds and dump stuff off there too.
Okay.
So, 2 years ago, our committee applied for a DNR grant to make some major improvements to North Park. And unfortunately, we just found out early April that we received that grant. So in the meantime, some of the expenses have gone up somewhat, namely the park equipment. And one of the reasons that we were able to apply for that grant is because the equipment has a certain number of handicap accessible playground equipment. And part of the grant is for handicap parking on a couple of the, on 2 sides of the park, handicap sidewalks, that kind of thing. I'm not, do all of you have that grant application?
No.
Okay. Mr. Mayor does. One of the things I wanted to mention is one of the documents that, well, I want to go back a little farther than that. When Mayor Potterfield was leaving his post, we had $220,000 in our budget at that time that was, in his mind and the council, was set aside for this grant. And somewhere in this, I'm pretty sure there's a piece of paper that's, I've seen it, I couldn't find it just a while ago, where the council approved that. And I noticed in the newspaper, but Mr. Osborne tells me this is not accurate, that there's $429,000 in parks money. Just want to throw that out, even if it isn't accurate. One thing I do have is that, and I can't find one thing that I had at one time. At about October of 22, was the piece of paper that showed that we had $220,000 in our budget for that project. So one of the things that I think I need to bring up is that in this grant, one of the papers that Melissa Hayes signed and Christine Ellison signed says, in the event a grant is awarded, the city of Monroe City, Missouri will commit the necessary financial resources to operate and maintain the completed project in a safe and attractive manner for public access into perpetuity. We have 2 years to complete this grant, and so it could be done in phases. if money turns out to be an issue, I think we could scale back some of the equipment in that application, but I don't think we could scale back any of the handicap equipment. And preferably we wouldn't scale back anything. And he's also on this committee. I left out something, Ken.
Nope.
Steve, what are we obligated as far as the match on that grant? Usually it's like DNR pays 75, you pay 25, or it's half?
Well, it's half,
Half.
yes, yeah.
How much was?
Half of,
250.
How much was the grant?
Well, it was almost $500,000. I mean,
So
it's
we're
still-
obligated for 250 and they'll give you 250.
Right, somewhere in there, right. Oh, one other thing I should mention is that, the people at LOI wrote this grant, and they told us, that if we did not follow through, we would put on a blacklist, and Monroe City would not be eligible for any DNR grants for however long. Maybe in perpetuity, I don't know. So, the good news is we would have 2 years to finish it. Part of our match could be the city employees maybe doing sidewalks, handicap parking, those kind of things. I mean, we can, as far as I understand, we can assign, a value for their wages as part of our match. We have a meeting that's scheduled now on July 9th. It's a Zoom meeting, with the grant people. And so, I'm under the impression that even though the previous council approved this, that we probably need current council to approve this as well. Am I right, Mr. Mayor?
I think upon completion of reconciliation of our financials, we'll be in a much better position to answer any questions regarding spending.
And to add to that, I think we have to know that before July 9th.
Absolutely. Well, I don't think we're gonna know that by July 9th, do you?
No,
It'll be
I can't
close,
guarantee anything.
be close.
It'll be close, yeah.
We're trying to do two plus years, 2 years and 3 months of data.
Steve, what's the July 9th date?
On July 9th is when we have actually, I think it's a city clerk, has to be present at that, I think was what the wording was. The person who's gonna handle the funds has to be there. And then I assume it'd be good for the mayor to be there, somebody on our committee to be there, at that meeting. But, I mean, that's when the funds are supposed to be released.
The funds be released on July 9th.
Right.
Have the grant documents been signed? I thought you said that.
Yes.
Well, where they awarded us the grant, I thought you said you just
Oh.
found out.
You'll answer that, didn't you?
I don't know about that.
Would they have been sent to the city, or who was the applicant?
LOI has,
It was
well,
LOI and Mary Kendrick who, brought the information and told us that they had,
Who was the grant applicant, the city?
oh, no, that I don't know.
That's good.
Because if we're not the grant applicant, we're not on the hook for anything, whoever the applicant is.
okay, this letter is from Patty Hubbard with Outdoor Recs and Grants Planner, Grant Management Section of Missouri State Parks.
I'm
This
pretty
is-
sure they were just helping the city.
I would assume it was the city that applied.
This is-
But I don't know that.
This is the email where they said that we'll have a meeting, on July 9th. I'm not familiar with Patty Hubbard.
They change so often. Do you have a copy of the application?
Oh, I think, do you have a copy of the application?
I
No?
do, I'm not aware where it's at.
Well, you got
Is
one.
it electronic?
You got one that, or you were supposed to get one. They made one for you, put it that way.
Whether you got it or not.
I went to the LOI and picked this one up.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of the
Yes.
application?
Mhm.
It'll tell you on there who was the Um,
Applicant.
yeah.
Well, the city,
Okay,
the city is the
Yeah,
applicant.
yes,
Yeah.
okay.
that's what we were just trying to
And how long would it take for you to get updated numbers for, because this was done 2 years ago?
I contacted the playground equipment company a week or so ago, and I got an updated quote.
Okay,
And it was raised from, I think, 238,000 to 264, almost 265,000 for playground equipment. And what I didn't do though was I didn't ask for an itemized list, and I probably should have done that.
yeah,
And probably will have to, so that.
yeah, so if we have to pick and choose.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In this application, there are a lot of pictures, diagrams of, you know, what kind of equipment, where it would go in the setting.
So does that have to go through the standard 3-bid
Oh, yes, definitely.
process?
DNR will require that.
Yeah.
Well, if I remember right, we got maybe more than one bid, I think, at the time.
So it's just a matter of going back and,
Yeah.
Seeing if-
Blake Rogers was here then, and we kind of worked with him on that, I think. But again, it's been 2 years ago, and I would have trouble telling you what I had for supper tonight. So,
I'm sure you had to get more than one bid.
yeah, so you just may need to get updated.
actually, the reason I think we got two is because I think in my briefcase I have a bid from another company. But I'm not.
Would that be the third or the second?
It would have been a second one.
Yeah.
DNR will require 3 bids.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Three,
the
yeah.
application for the grant.
Yeah, you would not have got awarded that grant.
Well, the
Okay.
grant, I mean, when we actually purchased that, those were probably just estimates for the application. I'm talking
I think
about,
we probably did, but I can't swear to it because of.
Right.
When you get
the 2
Well,
years.
even if it is, it's outdated.
Yeah.
But hopefully it wouldn't take them as long to just update the prices, as long as the fixtures.
They did give me an updated price.
Okay,
It was almost 265,000 where it was 239,000 2 years ago.
right. So they were both about the same?
30,000.
No, that's 20-some thousand.
No, I mean,
Oh,
you
the
said
other
238,
bids,
265, the other bid.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay,
It's just been too much time.
sure.
We thought we were gonna find out about this last June. They told us last June that that would be the day we'd find out. And so here we're almost a year later finding out.
That grant cycle is notoriously slow. I mean, 2 years is not uncommon for the Land and Water Conservation Fund. Because it's a state, they offer the grant funds through the state, but then the feds have to approve it before they let the state award it.
Yeah, if I told my principal it'd be a couple of years before I get something done,
Yeah.
I'd have been out of the job. That's here
So what
or
did-
there.
So
What-
what are we?
What do you need from us, Steve?
Well, I need for you to say yes, go after it, improve North Park, make it a park that people can enjoy.
I
And,
think that's a great
Does that
idea.
include demolition of the house across the street?
To the west. No, but, one of the things that LOI did in the process of doing this grant application was that they did a survey of people in our community. And the survey results, they said were outstanding, in favor of doing this. And I think that's in this too. I think those are, I'm pretty sure I saw them. But they were really surprised at the number of results that they got for what they mailed out and how positive the results were. So,
Yeah, I don't think anyone would be opposed to not improving the parks, but
Well, I think
It's a matter of money.
The finances are the question.
yeah.
And you're just talking about spending your allotted budget, right? For the
Which
parks.
requires our match.
Huh?
which requires our match.
I think it would.
No,
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 what
they're talking about using
their
their-
budgeted money.
their
for
allotted
that.
budget,
Oh, yeah,
money.
yeah,
Yes.
not our.
but do we know
I mean,
what
We
they
have
have?
parks tax,
Yes.
but it's all under the city.
Right,
So-
but
And
if
that-
appropriated and you had that amount of money
Right.
in your fund, you're
Yes,
talking about,
that would be
you're not
fine.
asking for additional money, you're asking
No,
for
hopefully no
whatever money is
additional
in
money.
your allotted.
Right.
budget.
And I guess one other thing I didn't say was, since that 220,000 that was in our budget, I think there should have been, there would have been at least one more cycle of tax money that should be in parks. Maybe two more, because I can't remember if that 220 was before. I think that money comes in September. That's what I think the mayor told me at one time.
And like,
And-
what kind of expenditures do you think you've had? Like, what could have, I don't know.
Well, that brings up another question that I had.
I got you.
I read somewhere in the information that I've kept that tax money was like 168,000 a year for parks. And so, but it doesn't all go, I mean, some of that is for, the golf course gets some of it. One thing I'm a little confused about by this, and, one of the budgets that I found is, whether or not the swimming pool is getting parks money, because in the budget I have, well, even in this, it appears that the swimming pool is separate. And it used to be when Jackie Pangburn worked here, that at our meetings, we talked about swimming pool, that it was part of the parks. Yeah, so,
The budget, the last budget that I looked at, which was a budgetary estimate for 21-22, the swimming pool was within the parks, and I can't. Your number of 220 is pretty close, because that was what was in the estimate as a beginning balance.
yeah.
But again, I have no factual information whatsoever.
I know, that's disturbing, and it's.
Well,
and it's very possible that we have way more than $220,000 in our, should have in our budget. And I guess the other thing that bothers me a little bit is, I think it's against Missouri statute to spend parks money on something other than parks.
Well, until we have our financials completed, we can't tell you where it went.
I'm
If
sure-
it,
Well, hopefully
if it
it's
went
there, it's
anywhere,
just not
Steve, if it went anywhere.
categorized right.
You know, I mean,
But you all understand the urgency, and we need to know soon.
Right.
Anything else?
I'll just say, with regards to the publicated, financial report, we don't have any, verified financial records since September of 2022. So
Right.
that is, in
And I
order
don't-
to continue to conduct city business, we had to publish a report.
Yeah.
We know it's not accurate in any way, and that's what we're working on now.
What this says here could be more accurate than you think on Missouri, on park sales tax money, based off of what I have and what should have come in since what I had and what you had.
well, we can actually go back and look at 17, 18, 19, and 20, and actually see what those actuals are as a comparison of what taxes were deposited based on the budget. But you don't have this, but basically what it says is right now our current bank balance is $3.6 million. So we're not broke.
Right.
Problem is just what you said. Not only is it a problem for how the funds have been put together. There are only 3 accounts and 1 sub-account in our bank, so it's not like we have individual accounts for each one of the funds. If we did, I'm not sure it would be better or worse, but that's not how it's been done historically. So it's just a matter of getting the bank records reconciled. And at that point in time, we will have a much better idea of exactly what's in every fund. What you're speaking to doesn't affect just that fund. It affects gas, it affects water sewer, it affects the electric department, it affects every other budget, the library, the fire department, it affects everybody. I don't know why you want to use the word equally, but it affects everyone. And so they're working on it as quickly as they can. I have absolutely nothing to offer on how or why not. The situation is what it is because none of us really were here. So we're just trying to pick up the pieces and put them all back together where they belong on the puzzle board. We'll get there, Steve. I don't know if we'll be done by July. I don't know that it will affect what's said in July. I mean, if this board wants to make a commitment to do what they said, what the previous board said they do, then so be it. It's their call. And I think the next meeting, we ought to bring it back up and see if we can get a little more, get the rest of the board members' input and what their thoughts are on it, and maybe we can move forward. And we'll put it out there, lay it out there on the table for them to have a discussion, and we'll move forward on it. Decide to wait or move forward. It'll be their call. I'm certainly not against it. If you're wanting to know what my perspective is I'd like to have the numbers. But
yeah, if the money's there, I'd say absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just asking for an answer before July 9th.
I think we'll be able to do that.
Affirmative.
I can't speak for this board, but I think we'll be able to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be back next month.
I hope so. I hope so. Okay, Mike, do you have anything for economic development?
Not at this time.
Okay, Jason, do you have anything for administrative committee?
No.
Okay. Chief James, do we have anything from public safety that you're aware of? Or nuisance review board? Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move forward now. This is an announcement. Previously, I'm sorry, would someone want to say something?
No, Steve, they're talking.
Okay, previously, water, electric, I guess not water here, but electric, gas, and street departments were advised they did not need to attend the regular meetings unless we had decided prior to the meeting to put them on the agenda for some specific item. If you all wish to change that, we can have that discussion. If there's a need to have them here and give reports, their reports are contained within the packets. So we do have the chief of police here. Do you have anything to report, Chief?
Yes, sir. Okay, so we have started over the past couple of weeks getting a bunch of nuisances done up. Do not have the exact numbers for you right now, but I know we're close to around 18 out of that. Over half have already abated their properties. So we're going to continue going with that. We have a new policy going forward with all of the officers to kind of speed that process up. So hopefully we'll get some better results this year out of that. The second thing I have is the body cameras. We did give you all some quotes on those for this evening. Should be from Lens Lock, Safe Fleet, and Axon. Stop tearing all that up. I would like to request that we go with the Lens Lock. Like I said, right now we're operating with one body camera for all of our officers for all shifts. So it's only a matter of time before that one finally gives out. How it hasn't yet, I'm not sure. But
Are the county prosecutors still wanting these all the time too?
yes. Yes, they're one used for pretty well every case that goes to any of our state courts. If there's not body camera video, that severely decreases the likelihood of prosecutions inside the courts at this point. So not only that, but it also is a big deterrent on the scenes. People see that the body camera is there, their actions are typically a lot better than when we don't have one. They're willing to push buttons a whole lot more whenever they don't see that camera staring back at them. The lens lock.
It is.
Oh,
You look at it.
did you have to?
Yeah, I know you said something about you were gonna try out some. Which
Yes.
ones were they?
Yes, we have not got those in to be trialed. A lot of that is on our end. We've had a couple of people out, so getting them here to be tried, that was more on our end, not the company's side.
Okay.
But no, we were not able to get those. However, I have gotten hold with a couple of departments that use lens lock. They love it, and they said it's the best customer service that they've had. They've had no issues, quick turnarounds if there's problems. There's damage to the cameras. They said typically within 24 hours after sending theirs out, they are already getting their replacement back. So they said they are very good, very easy to work with. Looking at the numbers, so each of these will come in around $25,000 over a 5-year contract. They're all relatively close to that. The one big factor that I would point out to you is through LensLock, you have unlimited data for storing the videos. Outside of that, everything else between these companies is relatively the same. You're going to get the same function and features out of the cameras. They've got everything we need. They'll also help us cut back a little bit on having to buy DVDs to burn all these videos to send to the prosecutors, as well as our retention system. Right now, we're going through a terabyte to a 3 terabyte hard drive per year, trying to store these videos, as well as hundreds upon hundreds of DVDs going out to prosecutors. So that adds up very quickly. All 3 of these have a cloud storage that we're going to be able to use. And that is where LensLock, in my opinion, is going to be our best option. We have no cap there on how much data we can store. Safe Fleet and Axon both have a maximum storage amount. I believe they're 100 gigabytes, which
That doesn't go very far.
is not very far, especially when you're talking about the fact that we're using up to 1 to almost 3 terabytes every year.
Yeah.
And that is over the term of this contract. So every year we're gonna have to cut down to 20% of that 100 gigabytes that we can actually save. Anything we go over, we're gonna be increasing price on. So we're gonna be paying that premium out. That's where with LensLock, we do not have to worry about that. Plus, LensLock also does professional redaction services, so in the event that we have a case that needs redaction, whether that's juveniles being in there in the video or people that are not related to the incident, we send that video off to them. Within 24 hours, it's back to us. We can now take these videos, send a link directly to our prosecutors. They now have the video. We don't have to worry about burning all these copies off to send to them.
I could tell everybody that saved tons of man-hours.
And DVDs aren't exactly new technology.
Yeah, no, and
And then the
it
computers
takes a
don't
large
always
amount.
play them.
It takes a large amount of
Get
time.
scrapped.
Each one of our prosecutors has a different system that they are able to view the videos through, so you have to reformat depending on where they're going. And they use 4 different prosecutors. You got, of course, city, Marion, Monroe roles. So it turns into quite the hassle. But that would be my proposal and my request is that we go with LensLock. Like I said, the 25 or the 24,975. That's what we locked at. We're not going to be looking at anything over that as far as these others. Although they are relatively close, you have to do 10,000 up front for equipment on one, and then close to 16,000 upfront for equipment on the other. You're not gonna have to do that with Lens Lock. The upfront it's all built in over the entire time span, so.
Do, are there any grants that would help with that at all?
There's the possibility of grants, however, without having complete financials, it's gonna be very hard.
Yeah.
Tough to do. Tough to do.
Yes, so Murma does help with these. They will do one of the devices. So we can still apply for that at the end of the year. That's when that grant comes up. So even if we've already purchased it, we can still apply for that grant, and they can go back and refund us on that portion of it.
Cool.
Like I said, Lens Lock, like I said, as far as having to do the upfront costs, this is definitely gonna be the easiest. It's gonna be a smaller amount every year rather than one large amount, and then having to continue that for every year for that 5-year contract still, so.
Right, and the unlimited data storage is huge.
Yes, that is very huge.
I will entertain a motion to approve the bid from Lens Lock, which is the chief's recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor of purchasing the cameras from Lens Lock, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Chief, very much.
I appreciate it. Thank
Sounds
you.
like
Appreciate
they'll
all you
get
do.
those to you pretty quick, if that seems, huh?
What was that?
Seems like you'll get them pretty quick then.
Yes, they do have a quick turnaround. We definitely appreciate that. Outside of that, we don't have anything further at this time, other than we've been extremely busy.
Motorola batteries for the handheld.
Oh, okay, yeah. We do have 4 Motorola batteries. They come in for a total of $376.64. We tried to go through a secondary company approximately 8-9 months ago to get batteries replaced, and they are already shot.
Batteries for what? What are the batteries for, is that?
They're for these radios.
Okay.
Out of the 4 we purchased then, only 1 is still operational, and it's only operational for an hour and a half, which is a long shot from 12.
Yeah.
So, I would request that we actually go with the Motorola replacement batteries. They have chips in them that are supposed to allow them to be conditioned. It's where the third-party providers do not, so.
What's the approximate total of that?
$376.64. And they have a listed price of $128.99, and we were able to get them for $99.60. So.
378.64.
Okay. Well, we need a motion to approve the expenditure for the Motorola batteries as requested by the chief. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
So moved. All right.
We have a motion and a second to approve the purchase of Motorola batteries. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. You get your batteries, sir.
We appreciate it, thank you. That's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
Could I dovetail off one thing? Nuisances was brought up. So the way the police and I have been handling these with the council's approval is, our view is that a nuisance summons, we want it cleaned up. We're not out looking to find people. So basically, if they come to court and it isn't cleaned up, they have a month then to clean it up. If they come back, then we proceed with a fine. But is everybody okay with that approach, or?
It's fine.
I mean, I don't view it as
There's a
something,
couple
we're not in
of
the money making
habitual-
fine business for nuisances, we just want it cleaned
Right.
up.
Yes.
And that's our hammer to get people to.
Yes, and we do throw out options and resources whenever we do come in contact with people, because a lot of them, they're not aware of the resources they have. So we do throw a lot of those resources out. Like I said, whenever it gets into the court process, they're granted an amount of time through courts to be able to make that change happen. So
Are the majority of these grass or?
the majority of them that we're dealing with right now are grass. However, there is a bunch out there that are gonna be disabled vehicles and just junk debris.
Kind of goes in waves.
Yes.
Is,
The one thing that, I do see changing this year is, in the past, we've had to restart every time. So if we go and talk with, an individual, we give them the abatement notice, they abate it, we go back 3 weeks later, they're right back in the same conditions already, and we have to go back and tell them it's abatement notice, it's eating up a severe amount of time. So at this point, with the way the ordinance and policy reads, give them the abatement notice one time. If they let it return back to that, they've already received their warning, they know it cannot be in those conditions, and we go ahead and move forward with citation and go towards court. So that will cut down tremendously.
Is, Carnes and, what's his name on that list?
We've got a huge list right now to get addressed.
Yeah.
We're upwards of 60 to get addressed right now. The big thing is not overwhelming the prosecutor in court. Because these are not simple, not easy, they take a lot of time. So trying to get 10 through in a month is kind of gonna be where we're looking at.
Well, a lot
But
of
yes,
people are really good about getting it taken care of, but then there's a few that get pretty combative and I want a trial
and once you get into businesses, the nuisances for them are quite a bit different than what you would deem nuisances for, private residents.
I didn't realize that.
Yes, so, one of the big ones is mechanic shops. An unregistered car is sitting on a mechanic shop. It could be a car that's being fixed at that moment to be able to pass inspection, to be able to be re-registered. So there's certain steps there that we have to take, make sure that we're on the up and up with that. But there is gonna be an officer that is designated only for businesses this year. So he will be involved with them, only them, and staying on top of that.
Yeah, cause he's living in the RV, someone is living in the RV and the shed.
Yep, so those are things that will be being addressed here very soon.
Cool.
Anything else?
I'm not supposed to do this.
We appreciate it, thank you all.
Here's a question.
I know, I'm not supposed to do that. Oh, I want to clarify something for,
That's right.
the members, in the gallery. The city of Monroe City has an ordinance on the books, section 2.08.130, addressing the board. The ordinance states, no person shall be allowed to address any meeting of the board of aldermen or discuss any questions pertaining to the transaction of any business before any meeting of the board, except upon invitation or permission of a majority of the aldermen present at such meeting. If this board would like to entertain comments from the gallery at this time, I would need a motion, a second, and a vote of the majority. No motion, we move forward. Okay, fire department?
I really don't have anything right now, everything's going smooth.
Well, that's what we want.
Still waiting on getting an email back about the 8-inch mortars to finish out the 4th of July program, but other than that, that's about it.
Excellent, thank you. On the airport, Mr. Buckman is unable to be here tonight. His report is that everything's going okay at the airport. We're still waiting on beacon light bulbs and the windsock that got blown away. And it looks like upcoming, the Whole Rosary kindergarten kids will have their field trip at the airport on Monday morning at 8:30.
Did he say anything about the card reader for the gas
No,
pump?
no, he did not.
Okay.
No, he did not. Okay, next thing on the agenda is the contract services renewal for Mosswood. golf course. Mr. City Attorney, do you have some information on that?
So we requested, I reached out to Michael and asked for financials because that was one of the conditions on the contract. He sent us a profit and loss, passed that on to the mayor. We had some other questions, or the mayor did. So we reached out to Michael for some more breakdowns on the categories of where it went. So he had court and was gonna get it to us. So my thinking is we should wait until we have a better idea of the financials before moving forward on that.
One of the things that came out during the review, and it's definitely new information to me, I'm sure it's going to be new information to anyone in the public. State statutes prevent a current board from encumbering any future administrations with financial debt or obligation. The only way that can be done is, and we say future, so a contract means going forward, future. So only way that can be done is through the voters approving a bond issue in which there's a stated amount, there's a stated purpose. So the contract, once we get everything ironed out, will be for a one year period. It'll have to be renewed each year, so each new administration has an opportunity to review the performance and make their determinations. I know it's new, but it's the only way we can do it and do it legally. And one of the things that we announced, I think early on, it's one of the goals of this board, and I think I speak for everybody up here, is to, going forward, we're going to make every attempt to do things by the book, the way they're supposed to be done. And then if the board wants to change an ordinance or make an amendment to an ordinance, we'll go through the process and do it the correct way. And that's all I've got to say about that. So you think we'll have something for the next meeting?
I think so. I mean,
okay.
Because does Emily keep the books? So it's all in QuickBooks, so I think she'll be able to send it.
So when was that conversation with Michael about breaking down a little bit?
When?
Yeah.
A couple days ago.
And so you hadn't got a re-up, you all didn't get another email, updated email?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He had court, like a trial
Right.
today, and
Okay.
said he was going to be at the meeting.
Put that on the agenda for the next meeting, please. Mosswood contract renewal.
May I ask a question?
Yes, because it's relative to this.
It is. So how is this particular contract for services, for management of a city property, different than, say, the people services contract that we commit? Don't we commit for that for more than 1 year? How is that? And that's just a dumb question. I really want to know. Is this different?
I mean, my thinking is that on the golf course, it's just good business to look at it every year. I mean.
Which is the way it's written, we're supposed to anyways. It
Right.
just hasn't been done.
Yeah.
Hasn't been done.
Well, the biggest difference is we're contracting with an entity to provide a service for city-owned property.
Just like people services.
People services are not required to necessarily show a profit that they can continue their operation. We pay them. All we're asking for the board to do and the financial application for the golf course is to show the city that they're operating efficiently enough that ongoing we don't have to pay them more to operate that. It's definitely from a business perspective because we are paying them for operating, and thank you George Spalding and the Spalding family for their very generous contribution to the city back in 1984. I'm not trying to, in any way, shape, or form denigrate that. But again, we have to look at like a business, and yes, you're going to find this board is going to ask more questions They're gonna dig deeper than maybe done before. We're gonna probably do things differently than the way it's been done before, but I assure you that our intention is to do everything to the best of our ability, to meet the ordinances on the book and to agree with the state statutes so that we're not putting ourselves in jeopardy in the future.
So the fact
That's
that
the
it's
only
not-
explanation I can give you, Debbie.
So the fact that it's a not-for-profit entity, does that have anything to do with making it different?
Mosswood's a not-for-profit entity.
Since
And
1981?
if we, and I went back and did some digging just because I was curious. If we didn't own, if the city didn't own that, and Penny, you're familiar with this, if the city didn't own that property, we wouldn't be able to provide one penny to Mosswood to operate it.
Unless we were under contract for services.
No, even then we couldn't do it. We cannot, the state law says we can't even give a nonprofit money. Correct, Mr. Russell?
Yeah, you can't give
We can't.
away the tax money.
We can't give away the taxpayers' funds to basically anybody, any nonprofit. We had a lawyer's, it wasn't even a lawyer, it was a state auditor, said that had we not owned Mosswood, we would be in violation by having the contract with Mosswood. Does that answer your question?
Just raised like 17,000 more, but that was perfect, thank you. I do understand where you're coming from.
Okay, thank you.
So Mosswood has one other thing. Do I have to wait, put it on any agenda for the next time?
For what?
We are requesting the Spalding, testamentary.
Oh, the trust.
Yes, funds to cut us a check. We need some equipment.
Okay, under the trustees' requirements for, I can't think of the names of the top of the trust fund, I'm sorry.
It's
I can remember Deborah Jan, but I can't remember the rest of Albert. And Deborah Jan's revocable trust. What was required was that the city of Monroe City submit to HNB, which is the trustee, what those funds were applied to. That letter was sent out January 20 what? January 24th to Hamble National Bank to tell them what those funds were used for, which was the requirement, it was the stated requirement of the trust. So, barring some other information, I was under the impression we've done what we were supposed to do.
Besides having cut them a check.
Right. We haven't got the money.
No.
Does HNB need something more from the city for the?
They just need you to contact, I've got a copy of the letter that explains everything. You just have to let them know what we've spent it on. She
Is
has
the
to
contact
document.
person Cindy Cowden?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I messaged her this week, with that letter that was dated January 24th.
Okay.
And it outlined the expenses on there.
So do we have the money? Or do the?
Yes, the money came to us, so what she's saying is.
We need to write a check.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought HNB was still holding the funds, so.
No.
Okay.
No,
they-
city cashed the
The money
check.
has been
We just need
deposited
the
into
money
the city's
Okay.
account.
for our equipment. $4,310.59. 50 cents.
Is there a reason why the city is then required to provide to the trustee what money was spent? Because what they provided was
It's because we own the golf course and Mosswood, we have the contract for services for them to run it, but it's still ours. That's how I understood it.
so then whatever they spend that money on, they have to give us the documentation to give back to the bank.
You just have to tell her.
Okay,
She's
fine.
that's all.
You just have to
She just
send
needs
her a
it
little
to-
email or whatever that says we spent it on equipment, which is what we're spending it on this year, is some equipment for the lawnmowers or.
Good enough. Anything else?
No.
All right.
Thank you.
At this time, we will review the presentation of the bills and approval of payments.
water, we didn't do water. Do you have anything else?
I apologize. George, do you have something you want to bring forth?
I just wanted to let you know that we got that leak out on County Line Road repaired today, right there at the entrance to Lake View, where the ditch is always wet.
Oh, cool.
It should dry up, but it is awful flat there. It is still going to hold water, but hopefully it will.
It was a small leak, didn't it? Always say.
It was a little bit larger than what I expected. But we were able to fix it without shutting anything off. It was simply 2 bolts had rotted off and allowed the packing gland to expand, and then it was leaking out around the packing gland. With the recent rains, our sewer plant has been inundated with water. We normally get water about 200,000 gallons a day. We've been running up between 1.5 and 2 million gallons a day. I'm hoping to get out and do some smoke testing in the near future to try to figure out where this water's coming from. I'm assuming a lot of it's going to be sump pumps, it's going to be gutters, it's going to be other drains that are going into the sewer system that shouldn't be there. Because as soon as it rains, well, within 15-20 minutes, our flow is going up. So it's an immediate, really quick burst of water coming. So that's why I'm thinking possibly roof drains and such that are going somehow into the sanitary sewer.
Could be the sewer lines are cracked or.
It could be, but the water would then have to permeate down 6 to 18 foot, depending upon the sewer main, go through that crack to get to us. And it's if there was a conduit straight down like that, it would open up, kind of like the one over at Elm and Rogers. If you stop by there, you'll see there's a barricade up because they bored right through our sewer line, and so the CCOM is going to fix that one. So if anybody has seen that,
Sheraton Valley.
Pardon?
Was that Sheraton Valley's contractor?
Yes, it was. Yeah, they actually bored through 3 lines that they're going to be fixing. One of them's on or the other 2 are private.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they're going to fix it, but I think we'll end up finding where the boring companies have caused us much more damage than what we currently are aware of once I start smoke testing. But water plant, we're starting to fill down at the what used to be the landing water park. So we went from operating 5 days a week to roughly 10 to 12 hours a day. Our water usage went from 200,000 gallons a day to almost 500,000 at the water plant. So we're pushing the water out. That's all I got, unless somebody has anything for me.
I didn't know we served the landing.
Pardon?
I didn't know we served the landing.
Well, we serve Cannon Water District, which is who serves Landing, and they buy all their water from Clarence Cannon, and they can't get enough water from Clarence Cannon to supply the Landing whenever they're drawing hard. So that's why we have 2 interconnections with them that we sell them water.
Would you mind telling the board what our increase is in this, average increase approximately is in the summer months and who it goes to?
Yeah, we send Cannon water up to 5 million gallons a month during the summer. That's what it takes to service their, what we can service from them on a monthly basis.
No, you mean Cannon Water, not Clarence Cannon.
Yes, that's
okay.
if I said Clarence Cannon,
No,
I
you
didn't mean
You
it.
said
Yeah.
correct, but I just want to make
Yeah, no, Cannon Water, and they come all the way up, and they border us on one side, and Marion County Water borders us on the other side. So just so you know, we are landlocked. We cannot expand our water system any further because we cannot go onto their region.
A city residential customer, after the first 5,000 gallons, pays $7.58 per thousand. What does what does Cannon pay?
They are, I believe, somewhere right around $5
Around $5.
a thousand. I looked at that contract, I could not find it, but of course my contract is older and I know that it has been updated, so I
Do
would
you
have-
think that you have the latest contract?
No, I have a contract.
Okay.
I have no idea
Okay.
where the newest contract, because I had got a copy from Jackie of both the Marion County and the Cannon Water contract way back when.
Well, that's something we'll want to look at going forward. Thank you very much,
Yes,
George.
sir.
Thanks,
No problem.
George. When those are updated?
Hmm?
When are those renewed?
We can change that rate tomorrow. And we should hear about that.
Well, we need to make sure that nothing's expired.
Okay, did I get everybody? Okay,
You may
good. Thank you very
proceed.
much. Now
Yeah.
move on. Okay. Presentation of bills and approval of payments, start with accounts payable. It's in your packet. Thankfully, everyone had this, hopefully Tuesday night electronically, and you've had an opportunity to review it. Does anyone have any questions?
I do.
I do. Probably the
Mike?
same question.
Michael.
I think we have overlapping contracts for the elevator maintenance.
We will be discussing those
Okay,
separately
okay.
in the new business, but that's a very good point and a very good observation. Thank you, Mike.
What's Fletcher Reinhardt utility fixtures, 5,824? I know.
Their fixtures for the utility poles, I'm not 100%.
Oh, for the utility.
Street lights.
Okay,
Street lights.
okay, all right. And then the US Cellular, did we ever figure out that? No. I mean,
It's not
we
in
had
here
phones that we
Alex
were
has
using.
been
That's
working,
Fred speed, that's what we're working on.
aren't you working on the hotspots and stuff with US Cellular too?
I am still
Yeah.
working on it.
Trying to figure out whether we,
Right now, I'm just trying to get a phone tree mapped out of what is
Yeah.
going where, what we own, the
I've got the
extensions. I was
or something like
recently
that.
talking to Sheridan Valley about phone lines as well, and just trying to figure out where all our phone trees are.
I think of the 10 or 12 that we've worked on so far, we have at least 8 that we're fairly confident we can shut down. There's about 3 more, and I think, and there's some DSL we got to run down. It's about $1,093 a month. Part of that, I think, goes chief.
Chief,
Along those lines with the phones on the Wi-Fi's for the police department.
Do you know which? Can you identify which one it is?
No, so we have the mobile Wi-Fi's inside of the cars. We are also looking with AT&T for FirstNet. They give a government discount. So we're currently checking in.
Good.
As well, we'll get that off to.
Okay.
whenever
Well,
we get
I
there.
will get
Phone
with you to
number
see if I can learn a bit
associated.
more about this. I got that stack on my desk. I'm trying to wade through. So thank you. I appreciate that.
it just seems like almost $2,000 for cellular cell phones.
$1,093 of phone stuff. You're probably going to get most of that knocked out. And what are you
Okay.
looking at individually?
Well, it's just the,
US Cellular?
yeah, phone services.
Yeah, the US Cellular 1900.
I just,
I think that's because there was a month that was missed due to,
oh, okay. So it could be more than 1 month. Okay. And then, I'm sorry. No, you're fine.
Mayor, didn't you say that you signed a bunch of checks, but those were already approved accounts payable, right?
What was?
You said you had to sign a bunch of checks.
Oh, those were already approved by the previous.
Okay.
So that
before-
1920 should be a
before
month
us.
then.
Oh, yeah, this is very favorable compared to what we
So I was
signed
expecting
over the
much
last
bigger,
2
but those
weeks.
were already approved.
Yes,
They just hadn't been paid.
that's correct.
Robin,
Yes.
that US Cellular bill includes a past due balance of $1,094.
Oh, okay.
So it's usually around 900 then. Ish.
825.
And then Marco Technologies, IT services. Who's Marco?
Marco is our IT coordinator. They manage our Office 365, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, suites, or emails. They're the ones who manage all that. The subscriptions for those.
And what are we
So
doing?
that
What are we doing towards Marco? You don't want to go into that?
I'm right now trying to figure out their current labor rates and their cost for IT services, engineers. I have most of them. I'm still waiting for stuff with copies.
When you say they manage, what does that mean? I don't know that you need, I don't manage, have somebody manage. I don't know what that.
Give her an example when I asked for an email. What happened?
When you ask for an email.
And what happened?
We, got a request for billable approval.
What did the request cost?
Request was $250 for the IT engineers. They put it to do that, plus some additional labor costs for the amount of time it took them to do that.
You mean
For an
an
account that was
email
already
address?
existing?
Yes.
The
I think
mayor,
it was
the
existing,
mayor
just
Yeah.
at
needed to clear it.
monroecity.org costs about $400 and some dollars. Just ask for it and get it done.
Do we have a
I
contact?
asked him what we doing about Marco for a reason. We're going down a different path. We're
Yeah.
gonna try to
We-
find a different source for our IT. And I know that you've had Chief James involved and the police department, and Alex has taken this, and running with it, and I'm encouraging him.
Would you let me know who you go to so I can fire them too? I have Marco too, I wanna get rid of too.
Debbie, when we figure something out that makes sense, we're gonna call you right
I
out.
would love that.
According to Dan Fisher, our sales representative, we don't have an official
We charge you
contract.
5%.
I don't know what the whole ordeal is. We do have contracts for certain for the police department printer, copier services. They also have a maintenance plan. But they just manage our services. I don't know entirely how this came to being.
Do you know how to make it unbeing?
I can.
I
Good.
mean, if we unbeinged it, what are we losing? I mean,
We would
what
have to
happens?
migrate all of our emails over. We would have to get access to all the stuff, I don't know, information wise.
I'm sure it won't be painful.
Migrate our emails, well,
No.
city employees have, done.
If you,
I mean, we're paying for this
When we go to the .gov, won't that help?
that'll help a lot.
Yeah.
The .gov domain is free, but we should really keep the old domain to forward it to the new one.
Well,
But that's only like $40 a
Okay,
year.
okay, we can do that.
But if you're on M365 now, if you go with another company that's already on M365, it's a much easier transition.
And I've reached out to Tigerhawk Technologies in Hannibal. They're local, much cheaper, and I use them personally. They're very solid on PC repair
You know them?
and all managers.
Have you talked to
Okay.
Tech out of Troy?
I've never heard of them.
A couple people have recommended them.
Okay.
I'd say Tiger Hawk too.
Yeah.
Well, Alex and company, we're gonna keep moving forward on this because, we kinda decide we're bleeding money that we may not be needing to bleed.
Okay, another question, sorry about that, Marco.
It is good.
Omingo Software says police, what's that? Record management, 5,230.53.
If I understand it correctly, it's what they use to pull up information on people they pull over or something. I'm not 100% certain.
Chief?
Do you know what that
Zach could answer, yeah.
is? Omingo Software,
Omnigo that's our reporting software. So that's what all of our incidents and reports go into.
Is that a past due amount included in there?
Is that annual or monthly?
This is, 6 months of,
Oh, okay.
well, there's 2 payments, they total almost 9,000, or over $9,000.
yeah, and I had this flagged, I actually wanted to talk to the chief on this as
Okay.
well. One of them is for records management, mobile patrol, e-tickets, accidents, and continuous training and consulting. And the other one was for PA portal and court administration. And I just didn't know, on this, I didn't know, since we don't have this before, or is this one still going to me? I didn't know.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, so we still, so that is actually unavoidable. With the way the courts have moved everything is on no courts, so it all has to be electronic. So this is our way of making everything electronic within our reporting system to where the prosecutors can.
Is
So
that a monthly fee, 6 months,
It's
annual?
6 months,
Yeah,
this
it's
is
every
from,
6 months.
May to the end of October.
And then my last one is UMB, is that our payment to the bank?
That is our interest on our pool, bonds that we have, it's just interest only, and the next payment will include the principal. I had them send me the amortization schedule, because I didn't have that. Oh, that's actually right here. The next one will be with principal and interest. This one was 13,656.25.
13,240.52, so
Okay.
that's close.
The next payment will be in November for a total of 88,656 with 75,000 being principal.
How much is left?
Oh, about,
1.8.
I thought it was about 3.
Don't be surprised.
Is it 700 something?
When's it paid off? Is there a final date on it?
33.
Hey.
What was that question?
When is it paid off?
Oh,
2033.
well, I won't be here.
Where you going with that?
On the Ross County Electric, is that? I'm
Either
assuming that's
there
for
or
the water
there, I don't
plant?
know where I'm going.
Not the water plant or the wastewater plant, no, it would be, the pump house down Route J probably,
Oh, okay.
and then maybe the water tower, and there's a lift station out on Industrial, I know that,
Okay.
there's some Rawls County.
And it also includes a railroad flasher, which we in turn bill,
It's 10 years.
Is that a month?
Yes.
I
Well,
won't be here.
these were
There,
some back
there's some
balances.
back balances
Yeah.
on that, so next month it won't be so bad.
We can lower our rates.
You can just take your hover around
Did you hear that?
I did.
Is this being
She
recorded?
calling you old?
And can you edit that part out? Hover around. Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve bills payable for no other questions.
I'll make a motion to approve payment of the bills as presented.
I do have a question. Is the mowing for Ogles, like, I think that's Elite Lawn Care, do we have to approve that for them to be able to get their check?
Oh, that's a good question. How does that?
We went, here's what we did. The mayor's office, after reading the contract, that said that we would pay them upon presentation of invoice. Previous board approved it. I cannot disapprove it, so I'll authorize them to make the payment when they present them.
Okay,
Okay.
Previous board approved it. I'm thinking we're good. If we're not, someone say so.
that's all I
What
just.
about that
Okay.
motion we made last month that said
We
everything?
were trying to go down that road, but it failed. It failed on my end.
Yeah, you can't really override anything that was already agreed on.
Well,
Yeah, you can.
we're
gonna do it every day.
Wow.
Well, unless the board has a problem, we're gonna
Was there a
continue
second?
going with the previous board did.
Yeah.
So are we good to ask for,
I'm sorry. It's good.
did we have a motion?
Yes.
And I
Do
said,
we have a second?
yeah.
We have a motion and a second for bill, to approve bills payable. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay? Okay, we have approved the bills payable. Going back to the agenda, the next thing is is new business, approve the city attorney contract. I'm guessing that you've all had a chance to look at that. If you have any questions for the city attorney, to direct them to his attention at this time.
Gosh, I don't know.
Or get somebody that works for the tax.
It's like the nicest, cleanest contract I've ever read in my life.
All right, I like it that way.
I do too.
I'll make a motion to accept.
We have a motion to approve the contract for employment of the city attorney, Mr. John Russell. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Darned. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the contract for the employment of the city attorney. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We have a contract approved.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you for what you do, John. I don't get to flip-flop a lot. Yeah, here, we go around with approval, you know, most of the time you get all the bad news, so. All right, next thing, who's going to handle this discussion of the dual contract for the same service? City clerk? Alex, step forward, Alex, explain to us what's going on.
Here's this.
So I got a call from a gentleman in Coney. They were wanting to get legal involved with this whole process because they have another company, Bernard Elevator, running maintenance on what, and their contract is their equipment, and I don't know why they're wanting to do that. The problem, as I have understood it, was that it was just as I was coming in. The Coney contractor who's going in there and doing elevator repair wasn't signing the clipboard that shows that it's been serviced. So I believe at the time it was under the impression that they weren't servicing it. So the old city administrator, I don't know if she had permission from the board or not to terminate the contract, but I guess she tried to, and they're under the impression that they're still doing the contract, and Bernard Elevator is now maintaining our elevator, and
The termination agreement with Coney says you can only terminate it at the end of the every third year. And you have to give them 90 days notice.
and I believe that time had just passed by the time we had gotten that contract from them. They did provide, and it is attached to the documents inside your packets, that they did have service on those elevators. The guy who was servicing them never signed the clipboard, which big no-no. But if you also look attached, there are invoices, which I believe I totaled at $4,986 for unpaid invoices.
I take it we were in arrears?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I will say though, the amount paid quarterly at the start of the contract was $510, $170 roughly a month. However, since this contract, I believe, started several years ago, that price has increased by almost half and then some. I believe 1,200 roughly.
So
And
this 1228 is just for 1 quarter? then?
just for 1 quarter as opposed to the initial contract, whereas Bernard Elevator is much closer, newer contract, and they're $187.50 a month. They have a 5-year contract renewal with a 90-day termination notice, I believe at any point in time, whereas Coney's is on renewal. I'm not too sure what options are kind of available due to the renewal being past the termination point.
What's the cause for breaking the contract?
We were under the impression at the time, or at least the city administrator was under the impression that they were not servicing the elevator because there's no input on the clipboard that goes to the elevator. And that's why she broke the contract with them.
Obviously, she didn't break the contract.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if she had board approval and based on.
I know we had trouble with the elevator, but I didn't know that she was wanting to do that.
So,
I remember you all voting on that.
this cone,
We talked about problems that we've had with the elevator
Right, but
working.
who owns the equipment? Do we?
I believe we own the equipment. Coney just services it.
Service agreement.
And the reason why they're kind of in a tizzy is not only the unpaid invoices, but they have another contractor maintaining their equipment as stated in the contract that they have with us.
So they're mad that we're going with somebody else?
Yes.
Well, we're in the middle of a contract with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the question, what is the penalty for, surely there's gotta be a penalty.
Yeah,
Figure
you
it
have to-
out.
Penalty for 90-day notice.
In the contract.
But it has to be done at the end of the, towards the end of
Towards
the
the end of the
contract.
contract.
Which, when does that end?
I believe that ended several days, I think last week, towards the beginning of the month. And it just passed by the time we had noticed it. However, due to the factors involved, we decided it'd be best to bring this to council.
So what are you proposing we do?
I believe it's our general recommendation to go with Bernard Elevator as best we can. They're much closer. Coney's based out of St. Louis, and
Who was the previous who was the?
Coney was the previous, Bernard is the current that we have. I don't believe Coney has done any additional maintenance since the city administrator kind of kicking them out, really.
Well, we're still paying them though. Because it went from end of
And the
Jan,
contract just renewed,
It did
so
just
we're kind
renew.
of stuck with them.
So, yeah.
So
how do we-
isn't there a notification of a contract renewal?
I haven't gotten any, and I don't think through all the emails I've kind
Could've
of been
went to
routing
someone
through that
else's
there
email.
has been a notice of it. It is stated in the contract that there would be increases or decreases based on costs of equipment, labor, and
Right.
well, in February, end of February, it was $1,228. Beginning March, it's $1,301. So I don't know how that keeps fluctuating.
it's just constantly
If it's
increasing.
automatically renewed, I don't know how.
It says,
Yeah, and they're automatic, they're not renewing it under the 2004 prices. I mean,
says that if the parties acknowledge that the delayed notice of termination shall constitute a material breach of contract. So what's the penalty of breach of contract?
We would have to pay anything in arrears and I believe the equipment or whatever they deem, they said that there's several options for that, as well as any taxes involved, but due to being a no tax entity, I don't think that would apply.
So just arrears and then whatever the equipment is? I mean,
It's gotta be cheaper than paying two people to do the same job.
Especially when one's quite literally almost an arm and a leg.
Yeah. And they do it every, 90 days?
90 days termination notice, but that's.
But I mean, the service is usually every 90 days, right?
Supposedly, I think they come every month, but we get billed quarterly.
Okay.
So what you're asking the board to do is terminate the contact with Coney. We'll have to comply with the requirements for the early termination and then move forward.
okay, look, sorry.
Go ahead.
This invoice that's in here is March 01, 2024 to May 31st, 2024.
Correct.
So if this, has this been paid, do we know?
Not by my knowledge, ma'am.
Neither
Don't
one of
believe
these,
so.
neither one of these have?
I didn't
What's
see
that
any.
one for?
Well, one's December through.
Oh, that's in arrears. Right.
Those are the invoices that the representative gave me.
And here's another one.
We owe, I believe, $4,986.
They're saying that we owe them $4,906.
Yeah, there's two for 1,200 and one for 1,300.
Does that mean they submitted these obviously prior to April and they just weren't paid?
I don't know if they were submitted or emailed with the jumbling that occurred towards the beginning of the year.
Can we go back and make sure, that we didn't pay them? Is that possible?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't
I-
wanna pay them twice.
I mean, I'm leaning toward terminating the contract. However, I want to know
Yeah.
specifically what the penalties are if we terminate it after the contract's renewed.
and do we have a copy, like a folder with all the notices they gave us of rate increases, or have you seen anything?
I have not seen anything yet, sir. I can reach back out to the representative and see if I can get some more information regarding that.
What you're saying is if they did not notify us of the rate increases, then they voided the contract.
It's an argument, right? You know?
Okay.
That, and we can also say because they weren't writing down the
Right.
services, which
Yeah.
I believe is a requirement.
We'll need to do a vote or something.
Yeah, 'cause otherwise we don't know, there's
Yeah,
no
if
proof that
if
they
it
did
fails
it.
and somebody dies, then we
Yeah,
have a
or
big
get
problem.
stuck and, yeah.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that the board is desirous of canceling the contract with Coney. We would ask the city attorney to draft a letter to them, explaining our position on them reaching the contract by not performing their requirements under the contract relative to increases in cost. And then we would just continue on with the other company because we're already under contract and we're already paying them. Is that about right?
Yes, sir.
We
What
would
do we-
pay them on past balance,
That's what I was
right?
gonna say, what do we do with
Hmm?
the
We would
past?
pay them or past their, what we owe them.
That
on
would
past
make sure we
balance.
haven't.
I'm gonna let
Let's
Mr.
wait and
Russell.
see.
Okay.
Yeah, let's wait and see.
Okay.
So that would be dependent upon the attorney's recommendation resolution after he sends a letter to them. Do you wanna go ahead and make a motion to terminate the contract?
Might as well.
I'll make a motion to terminate the contract with Coney.
Okay, we have a motion to terminate the contract with Coney. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor of termination of contract with Coney, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, there we have it. The motion passes to cancel the contract with Coney. I made a slight error during the presentation of bills and approval automations. I was supposed to present to the board a purchase order requisition from the city of Monroe City to Autodesk for the purchase of a annual license for the Autodesk AutoCAD LT that's used by our gas department to maintain the maps and mapping. They've been unable to do that for 2 years. I told them I would bring it to the board for approval to an amount of $505.
And what does that do?
Okay.
Oh,
So they
This
can
mapping
print the
is required
use,
for some of their annual reporting.
oh,
yeah, for the plotter, like that map was printed on it.
So I would need a motion to approve this purchase of $505.
So moved. Oh,
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the purchase of the Autodesk AutoCAD LP for an approximate cost of $505. All in favor?
aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. You pass that down to city clerk, please. Apologize for that.
That's Alex.
Okay, I'm gonna announce this next item on the new business, and I'm gonna ask the question of the fire chief. This is a request for a Big George's fireworks permit to allow the sale of fireworks within the city limits of the city of Monroe City. Before we accept them, before the chair will accept the motion, I'd like to have a short discussion with the chief, fire chief. Would you please step forward? Would you please step forward so we can probably have a little discussion here about the podium, please? What does MIRMA say about firing, the discharge of fireworks in the city of Monroe City's limits?
We don't have MERMA insurance, so I can't tell you that,
Okay, but the city of Monroe City does.
but the city does, yes. Big George has been putting this fireworks show
Oh,
on.
I'm not even going down that road.
Yeah.
I have no problem with Big George.
This is just for sale.
I'm concerned, what happens is when we allow the sale of fireworks within the city limits, they shoot fireworks within the city limits, which has been approved.
Yeah.
A board approved it.
Absolutely.
Back in 2006, 2009, a different board, upon information received from the fire chief at that time and information from our insurer, said that our rates would go down if we stopped shooting fireworks within the city because it reduced the potential for a fire. My question is, and I'm gonna have to go, I guess, to MIRMA and ask this question. Did passing that resolution to allow fireworks being discharged in the city of Monroe City increase our costs of insurance? And to you, does it increase our risk?
Well, can I, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we get a rating and then it flows through to everybody's homeowners policies. Is that right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's how, so the city doesn't pay, but we each could pay with higher homeowners insurance.
So the city has no liability whatsoever for allowing it to occur?
The city's not the sponsor of.
I'm not talking about George, I'm talking about the city allows citizens to discharge fireworks within its limits. They didn't used to.
I mean, I would guess the city always has liability.
Okay.
I mean, so it's a discussion to have with MIRMA, is my
Okay.
thinking, because I mean, you could get into brass tacks, like, are we enforcing the ordinance, how are we enforcing it?
It's very difficult to enforce.
Right, it's very difficult
Very
to
difficult
enforce.
to enforce.
You know, right now, it's just certain days and certain times, and it's next to impossible for anybody to enforce.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
So if
I
we're
don't
not,
disagree
no,
with
I
that.
think there is a situation where we could be at risk for allowing it.
All right.
What
moving
that risk
forward.
is, I can't tell you.
All right.
It's there.
Well, maybe a discussion for another time in another year, maybe. But
And
thank you.
even when they, they denied them before on selling in town, all they did was went out to W and 24.
Right.
Fully
Put it
aware,
right there.
fully aware.
I'd have said
And the discussion was not
Sold
about
anyway.
whether we should or shouldn't. I don't have a problem
Yeah.
with the permit at all.
Yeah.
Why don't they collect sales tax?
They don't.
I think so. Do
They should.
It should be.
they?
I thought so.
That's,
They do.
you talking about the no tax due?
No, Big George.
Right.
Collect sales tax?
Yeah, they should
They
be.
do? Okay. It just seems like it's always an even number when you go out there. It's like $3,
Well, they can
$3.50.
include it in the price.
All right, so the board has before it a request to approve the permit for Big George's Fireworks. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved. We have a second? Okay, all in favor of approving the permit for Big George's Fireworks, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion passes. Next item on the agenda is IT support for administration. Who will be discussing that? Alex, please step forward.
So, as you are probably well aware with current discussions with Marco prices and customer support services have been expensive, kind of unreliable and all over the places. And as I mentioned, I've been reaching out to different companies like Tiger Hawk and hopefully soon some of the recommendations Mike had to try to get better pricing and stuff for IT support and technical support from other companies that specialize in that. Same thing with copiers and printers and stuff. The PD's printer and copier has been on the fritz for quite a while, and I don't believe they're able to fax anything out, which is an issue with their current position. I've done some patchwork with it, and we discovered recently that Marco and the PD have a maintenance policy that they'll be able to get that fixed. However, with Marco prices and labor and all that, what could be a 500 job normally for other companies is more of a 700 to 1,000 depending on how long it takes. For IT support, I have more numbers downstairs. I'm waiting for comparisons from Tiger Hawk to give a better idea, but as mentioned, just for an IT specialist to come and change our emails, for example, was $250 plus a whole mess of other things for labor and trying to get it all worked out, and it's almost money for every 15 minutes worth of work, where that's not uncommon with some IT companies, but their rates are just really high. Speaking with several representatives of companies so far, it's been kind of the general consensus that Marco's trying to flesh out a lot of the smaller organizations so they can have more of the big organizations. I can't really verify that, that's just what two representatives have told me, because they're now servicing more municipalities with Marco kind of pushing people out. So with your permission, I wanted to pursue more leads to try to get more cost effective and more efficient IT methods for City Hall.
Absolutely.
Basically, you're going to do this review, and you'll be able to come back to the board and give us some comparisons, or at least estimates of comparisons, because unless you're actually doing whatever the very specific requirement is, it may not be able to get or you may be able to get a dollar for dollar comparison for the same work being performed. So, okay, so what we need here?
I don't,
I don't
Just
need anything at the moment.
You just wanted to try to get a consensus among the board. Does the board have a consensus to let Alex proceed, try to save us some money?
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, there you got your answer. Thank you, Alex, for what you're doing, I appreciate it.
Cause like on the M365 mail, there's usually not much markup at all on that part.
And they're marking it up quite a bit.
Yeah, I think the base is only like $6 or 4 or something, so.
It's pretty steep for something that's very simple.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. Thanks, Alex, for that. Next item on the agenda, does anyone on the board have any old business?
We talked about that, good.
Please.
I guess that was Tuesday, or, what, yes, yesterday.
Yesterday, it was yesterday.
We finally got the ball rolling on getting the .gov address, and this is not a fast process. We tried to, because it's federal government, so they want to make sure everything, and we tried multiple phone numbers to verify him, and this is after submitting a copy of an ID, and we're down to, they're going to mail something to verify in 5 to 10 days, so we shall see. But on their site, they said they're backlogged and it's a minimum of 8 weeks.
They don't need an audit, do they?
No, no. They're just verifying who we are and that we're a legitimate need for it, so.
Well, actually, I felt very good about the whole process because I concluded and affirmed that no one in the U.S. government knows who in the heck I am. So consequently, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, I think it'd be a much more secure
Right.
system for us. It'll automatically comply to maybe some of those requirements out there for the conduct of government business that we may or may not even be aware of. If there's no further
And
old,
I think Mr. Howell maybe had one thing.
May I address the board?
I'm sorry, you looked at me like.
Regarding a city project.
sure,
Okay. So,
I know.
we're stretching it, folks. We're stretching it. It's not on the agenda.
I don't.
You don't want to do a vote? Okay, Lori, you win.
Okay. So, I'm here kind of as a continuation of my visit here last time. I was here to report on the County Line Road project that's largely funded by EDA. The last time I was here, we reported that there was a posting notice given to some of the Indian tribes about your project. That time has passed, and it's time to put that project out for bids. So it's probably time to make a decision, either put it out for bids or not. Because the EDA is expecting progress. We bought you a little time last time we were here, gave you some plans to look at. We're just kind of out of things to delay.
I think we have to postpone this.
Just a
till
second,
next
we
week.
vote on it next meeting.
I mean, you guys do what you need to do.
It's on the agenda.
I'm here as more or less a due diligence visit. Yeah, Cindy Holtz would have been here as well, but she has some other commitments tonight. But it's, the point is, it's probably time to take action one way or the other.
So what will the board precisely, if I may, ask for, I want, like, on the agenda for our next meeting, precisely what is it we need to do?
So basically, we're at a point where on the schedule says the project needs to start construction in July of '24. Well, by the time you look at a bidding cycle, a bidding process, an award process, let alone send it to EDA and let them look at it, we really need to be setting a bid date, advertising, and we just got the notice within the last day or two that time had passed. So, this was the first opportunity to be here. I will admit failure to reach out and ask for an agenda item. It's been a little crazy, but in any event, so probably your next decision is either you give authorization to coordinate, schedule a bid date, or you
Discontinued project.
kill it somehow.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
What, with other similar projects that you've worked with, when there's railroad involved, I don't understand the point of widening a road by 4 feet, but then you get to the railroad and it goes back down to the smaller size.
Sure, it was just a matter of expediency more than anything else. We do projects with the railroad representing local governments quite a bit, mostly on bridge projects and some things like that. And the process to get through the railroad would not allow you to complete the schedule according to EDA's requirements.
How long has this project been open?
I think 22, I think we started on it in 22. So we're at the point in the schedule where it's time to start the advertising process so that it can be completed on time. But to answer your question, the railroad is, no offense to anybody here that might work for the railroad.
They take their time.
But they're slow. They're very busy dealing with crossing improvements. There's a lot of heat on that. Just a busy shipping time with the economy rolling again. And so it's just taken a lot of time to get anything done with the railroad. More time than you have.
Right, right.
And so the idea was make the improvements that can be made with the financial assistance that you have. And then if it's, fill in those gaps a little later, but at least get this part done that you're getting tremendous financial help with.
But how much of an application would we have of that?
To do what?
I mean, is
with
it?
the EDA project or
Yeah,
with the
how much are
with
they?
the railroad?
EDA. How much would they cover of it?
You're asking what will the city need to pay out of pocket?
For the project as it is, or doing something on the railroad project?
As it is.
As is.
363,000 is what you pay. And that was in the packet that I gave you if you decide to go back to it. In the back of that is the award conditions and things like that. If there's any saving grace, it doesn't happen all at one time. There's payments that get made over time.
Do you know how long will it take to complete the projects once you started, if that was to happen?
So the deadline in the specific award conditions is that construction completed no later than July 27th to 26th. And I will say that as we sit here in 24, that sounds like that ought to be easy, but there's a tremendous amount of government money hitting infrastructure projects, and contractors are getting busy. And then, this project has got some asphalt in it, and so asphalt likes to be laid when the weather's nice, not when it's too cold. So, from November through May, give or take, asphalt is out. And so we have basically an opportunity and a half to get it done, basically. We got this season and then just part of the next one at the very end.
I haven't yet to find this, whose idea was the project to start with?
That I'm not sure about.
But it was in 22?
Huh?
It was in 22 that it came to be?
Yeah, let me look at that here. And what I'm looking at is the award conditions. So the date of the award was July 27th to 22. So prior to that, an application was made, an engineering report was done. And so this was probably late 21, early 22.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I apologize, because I should have known more, but our obligation is 363, but what is our awarded number that we would?
The amount that the amount that EDA is putting in is $1,314,349. And I've been listening in enough to understand there's a lot of challenges, and I'm not here to push you one way or the other.
Right.
I'm just telling you that we're at a calendar point, and as being a participant in this, I feel like it's my due diligence to bring that to your attention. Because to stay on schedule, we need to move ahead. And so you decide to put it on your agenda and make a decision next time? Is that in 2 weeks or is that a month?
2
weeks.
2 weeks, I'd say that'll be fine. But if you,
23rd.
maybe what we can do in that 2 week time frame is maybe, if you decide to move ahead, maybe we can have an idea what that bid opening date would be, and maybe we'll catch up a little time. If you decide not to, there you go.
What would we be out if we decide to not do it?
If you decide not to, my understanding is that EDA will pay for my engineering fee that you paid.
Even if we don't?
Reimburse.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, we paid,
that last.
Yeah, at the last meeting, it was approved to
Yeah,
to
did you
pay
get
what was
that?
due. My understanding, EDA will pay for that, that's what the grant administrator has told me.
back.
Even
paid
though,
it.
even if we
We
don't?
issue checks to the
Okay.
city council or
Council government sent to
Yeah,
Shannon.
okay.
So I don't know what exactly the cost share would be on that part. I don't know if it's prorated, I don't know.
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't know those details.
During the if they move forward, if the board moves forward, Alice, please get it on the agenda for 2 weeks from now. But if the board did go that way, I just got a curious question. What would happen to the traffic on County Line Road?
So part of it's actually a stage construction with
Okay.
traffic control to try to keep one lane open.
All right.
Part of the project is broken up in phases to try to maintain traffic to the different businesses and the entrances that are there.
Okay. You've answered my question, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Would you be able to provide like a spreadsheet or something showing the breakdown of the council, of the cost to pull the plug versus the cost of completing the project?
I'm sure I can work with council.
I mean, I just think if we had that in the packet, that would help everybody make a better decision.
So I think if,
We've already done that.
I think at the last meeting, it was my understanding that after we paid the invoices to council and to Shannon that we approved, there were not gonna be any more costs
Okay.
incurred, is that correct?
for the design phase. Yeah,
But
so-
we don't owe you any more money.
Not at this time. If you move forward with the
Right,
the
right, right.
bidding
I mean,
process and all that, then
Right.
then there would
Okay,
be
so we're
additional
caught up.
expense.
We're caught up.
Yeah, I
And
think
then we should
and-
still be getting.
there should be a
80% will get back of what we already paid.
there should be an invoice for council of governments, I think, for some of their work that's been done.
We approved that last month.
Okay, I don't think they've received anything yet.
I haven't seen an invoice from them.
Oh,
Okay, I
They need
encouraged her to send one to you. Yeah. So as far as what you're at, if they reimburse a fraction of that, 80% of 172 is about 160 or so, give or take.
Don't really.
Yeah, whatever that math is.
But we already issued those.
We did,
We
we did
did.
get reimbursed
Yeah.
80%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Senator.
Was there a traffic study done?
There was a traffic study done. So I'm guessing you get around 145 back, give or take.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be out 20,000-30,000.
Yeah.
If you stop it. But if you don't stop it, you're gonna be out another 330.
Yeah, there's no way.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your
Yep.
time. I do
Yes, sir.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Shannon.
Whatever you decide to do is fine, we'll be back in a couple weeks.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize for doing that. I
No,
just knew the
you-
key.
You feel free to do whatever you feel like you need to do, Lori. That's how we get answers and move forward.
I don't see the point.
That same stupid logic. Hey.
And then I'm not on email either.
Thank you, Mr.